So let's go ahead and start rendering out some of these maps since we have our character unwrapped and ready to roll. We'll go ahead and this is going to be a pretty simple video. Instead of showing you or you watching me do each one of the four texture maps, we're just going to do, you're going to watch me do one, and just, believe me, that's what you would do for the rest of them. So we can see, if we take a look at our unwrap, that we still have all of our mesh, and we are sorted the way we would like, and we can tell visually that the checkerboard pattern is meeting our needs for the most part, which I'm pretty happy with. So now it's time to render out what we need. And if we go into our edit window, and I'm going to put it on head, and we'll start with this one. I'll just turn this off for now. So what we want is we want to be able to use our UV layout that we have here as something that we can paint on. And so we're going to go to Tools, Render UVW Template, and right here you determine the size of the texture, and I want this one to be 2048 by 2048. It has to be a perfect square because this is a perfect square. You can set some of these other things if you wanted to. Don't show the seam edges. I pretty much leave it the way that it is. I'm pretty happy with it. And then you just hit render, and can't really see too well what this is, but if you zoom in you can see that there it is. So all you gotta do now is save this, and this will actually be part 7, so okay, and then wherever you want to save it, wherever you know that their textures are going to go, I'm going to call it template.jpg, which will automatically save it as a JPEG format, and we just hit save and just make sure it's set to best, and that's done. So we can close that, and then if you wanted to, you can, so that was template for the head, so switch to this one, and I'm going to rename this. Rename template for the head. Okay, and this is going to be template for the arms .jpg. The only reason why I'm doing all these now is just because it's easy to knock them out now. So save template for the legs .jpg. Whoa, no. Template legs .jpg. What is your problem? There. I was selected on it. What? Template legs .jpg. There. Okay, and the last one, template hands .jpg. So that was the easy part, rendering out those objects so that we can actually unwrap them. Now I'm opening Photoshop so we can kind of see, so you can kind of see the way we need to set things up in here, and try to get this set up right. Okay, so let's open. So let's say we start with the head. Open up the template head. Okay. Now as it stands right now, we could start painting on this and then assign that texture right to our character. But there's a there's a couple of things we would probably want to do to this before we did something like that. Now the bad part of setting these colors up and breaking them into 4 different textures is if we try to come back to our original color scheme and apply this to the character. As you can see, everything is based upon 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm going to step back. So, there's really nothing we can do to get around that. The only thing we could do is if we wanted to just have a, squeeze everything on one, which probably wouldn't be the best idea. But what we could do is just render out what we have anyway, just for something to kind of go off of, and you'll see what I mean. Like if we go to Photoshop, as we can see, everything's black and white in here, and while we could use the magic wand to select on, say, the empty spaces, and then select inverse, which actually probably wouldn't be a bad idea. But if we wanted to, we could render out what the blue checkerboard looks like. But actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think this might work pretty well too. So what we're going to do here in Photoshop, as you see, I'm just using the magic wand and selecting here in the negative space, and I'm going to make a new layer, and we're going to pick a color, and this is not gonna, there we go. So let's come back here, pick a color, and then I'm going to hit Control Shift I to invert the selection, or go edit, select inverse, so Shift Control I. Okay, so now I'm selected on everything in here. I hold Alt, and I can take away the armpits, I could take away the eyes. So now all that I'm selected on is the actual mesh. And if I go to layer 1, and let's say I had this guy with a blue skin, and then as you notice, I'm on layer 1, I'm selected on the actual mesh, and then hit Alt backspace to fill it in. As you can see, we now have the guy filled in. Now there's a couple things that I know, and that is this is the bandana. Okay, so what I'm going to do, hit Control D to deselect, and I'm going to come back and use my magic wand again to select just on this area. I'm going to make a new layer, and I think we were going with green, so we'll just do a green, and then Alt backspace to fill it, and then I can rename it bandana, and I can delete, just hit delete, and we see it just deletes that right away, and rename this as skin. And now what we want to do is move this one to the top layer, and then we're going to set this to screen. Now, as you can see, we can zoom right in, and I see exactly how I can how the mesh is laid out and where to paint everything. But this is not enough. Well, we'll go ahead and go with this for now so you can see what we got to do next. So we go File, Save As, and I'm gonna call this Head Diffuse Map, and we'll just go ahead and save it as a Photoshop. Hit Save and hit OK. Okay. Now we go back. To Max. Go back to our material editor, and we come back to our four textures. And for the head, we go in here and we're going to switch the map from a checker to a bitmap, and then we actually set this to our head diffuse map. And we see it comes in right there. We hit open and set collapse layers, hit OK, and now we can hit show and close. And now, as you can see, to a little render, we actually see that texture sitting on our guy. Now, there's a couple of things we have to deal with, and namely being right here where we can see the seam. And the easiest way to do that is if we go into our skin, and then I hold Control and select right here on this thumbnail, and you see that it selects everything on that layer. And then we go to Select, Modify, Expand, and 3 pixels will probably be okay. So just hit OK. Let me zoom in. Yeah, I'm going to undo and select, modify, expand, and I'm going to go by 5. Okay, now I'm going to use my eyedropper to take this blue and still on my skin layer, and as we can see we've expanded the selection, so I'll hit Alt Backspace, and I'm just filling in a little buffer, because before where the seam is on our mesh, right here, that's actually where the color was ending. So now we're just going out a little past, and I'm going to, let's make a bottom layer, and I'm just going to go ahead and make, whoops, Control D, I'll just fill this back layer. And now if I go save and then bounce back to max, you see it updates. And now the seam's gone. You know, we see a little bit here. Obviously, it's not in our render, so it's gone. And now we can start all the wonderful things that we would like to do to texture this guy. Do our dodge and burn. So you can see that's gonna maybe give him some blue lips. And then the biggest thing is that you hide the template mesh when you save it, so that when you go back to max, it'll update just with the changes. And at this stage, if you wanted to, we could throw the Turbo Smooth on top of the Unwrap, like so. And that's really it. That's see, we have some issues here, and that is because our bandana doesn't have that buffer space. So hold Control, select the thumbnail. As you can see, it's going right to the edge. So select, modify, expand by 5. Let's pick that green, Alt backspace, turn it off, save it, back to max, and let it update. And we see it's fixed. So that's the process. We can just go ahead and do the same thing for all the rest of our mesh, and we'll be good to go. What I like to do, however, I'm going to actually go ahead and fill this back in. I'm going to save this again. Oops, crap. I saved it. I filled it in on that one. I should have did it on this one. There we go. Save. What I like to do is I'll take the bandana layer, duplicate it, and the skin, duplicate it, just so that we can come back to the original color at any time if we need to. So let's say, for instance, if I want to, I'm going to go to my skin copy, and I'm going to put a pattern overlay on the skin. And let's see, we should have some skins in here somewhere. That's actually not bad. And what I'll do is I'll just set the blending mode to like multiply, and then bring the opacity way down. I'll scale that up a little bit. Okay. As you can see, we just put a little bit of texture on the skin. Let's see. I think I got a better one. Raise this up a little bit. Kind of like that one. And of course you can play around. That's kind of cool. I'll bring the scale down. Okay. So now it's got a little bit of texture on the surface. Save. Back to max. So now he's got something going on the skin, and that's basically the process that I go through. Let's say for the bandana, I'm going to do a pattern overlay, and let's pick one of these. Thread looking ones. Where was it? It's like burlap or something. That one. Set it to, let's lighten. Just roll through a couple of them. So I can see how that's looking. Let's see. I'll bring that down. File, save, back to max. There we go. So again, like I said, and that's now it's up to you and your Photoshop skills to turn this guy into the wonderful thing that he's going to be. And since I'm just dodging and burning, let's say I wanted to put a different color for his lips, I'd actually make a new layer for his lips. Let's say we wanted to go something like that. Alright, and just gonna and let's throw I'll do a bevel and emboss with the texture, and let's find a good texture here. Oops, it's pretty good. Let's see what that looks like. Save and back to max. Not bad. I mean, not great, but it's not bad. I mean, how long did that take? So, so that's the process. If you're going to add a new color, make a new layer so you can control it. And it's just a matter of bouncing back and forth. And this is all obviously just a diffuse map. But that's enough for now. I think you get the point, and basically the way to go. Like I said, again, this is where your Photoshop skills come into play. Call this eyebrows, and what I'm going to do for the eyebrow, now that it's up here, I'm going to actually shrink my brush all the way down, make a line, I put a little bit of a drop shadow and a little bit of a bevel and emboss, and now I'll just like so. Let's duplicate and then edit, transform, flip horizontal, and we'll just move that over there, and let's see what that looks like. Save, back to max. There we go. So I'm gonna leave you with that. So like I said, go through and do the same things with the other ones. Template arms. Just unlock them. Use your magic wand to select the empty space, and like right here, hold Alt. Oops. Control Shift I to invert, and now hold Alt and select off that inner piece and these, and I think that was it. And then we know we're going off of that old skin color. So I'll come back down and use the eyedropper. So I'll pick that color. High-end backspace. So we know that's the arms. And we can go through and do the same things. Control D, and I know this and this. These are going to be the straps, so I'll call that skin. New layer. Straps. And this is going to be brown. Alt backspace. And so on and so forth. Remove that to the top and put that on screen so we can see. So go ahead and finish this up on your own, and that's unwrapping. That's how you unwrap your characters. That's how you get to the point where you can paint the textures. I mean, that's it. It's just, like I said, it's up to you and your ability to use Photoshop as far as texturing this guy goes. So go ahead and take some time to do this, and I'm going to do the same thing. And the next video series, we're actually going to be rigging our character. So have fun texturing until then. Alright, bye.